All right, so 49, we need to think a bit more broadly, and I'm going to try to sketch this on top of F, I guess, because there's more space. So usually I just start in the middle at 0, 0 because it's easier to think about that. And so what's happening is, if I think about maybe over here, this part of this graph, what's happening is that F is being plugged in to G, right? It's G, or is that, sorry, 49, yeah, 49 is G of F of X, right? So F is the input to G, which means that I need to look at F's Y values, and those are what go in for G, okay? So if you look at that part of the graph for F, that's where we're going to plot what I'm about to think about, but F's values aren't going from 0 to 3 like the X is. F's values are going from a little above -1 to not quite 2, right? You see those Y values? Those Y values are between negative, I don't know, -3/4 and 1.5, right? The Y values of F, okay? Those now become, and also they're going up, right? They're kind of, there's kind of a little slant there, but we're going up. We're moving from -3/4 to 1.5. Now, those become the X values of G. So now take G, and let's see, -1/2 is roughly here, and then 1.5 is here, right? So those Y values are now what the graph is going to look like in this region, okay? So that part of G is what's going to happen here. So let me use a different color. I'm going to take this shape because that's the shape I'm looking at, and I'm going to stretch it across this region here that I've marked in orange on the left. So it should look like, it should be a little bit negative, and then it should go up to a little above 2. And I'm just estimating. I'm not doing a great job. But see how it's kind of the same shape? And that's going to be stretched across the same spot because F's Y values are now what I'm using to check to look at G. Okay, so I'm not going to graph all of G. I'm just graphing the part of G that corresponds to F's Y values. Okay, so first I looked from 0 to 3 because I just started there, and I said, okay, what are the actual Y values of F? That's where I look at G. Okay, just like we did a second ago with 1 point. All right, so the second half, let's look at the left side of F. Let's look at this part, okay? And by the way, I'll just say, I think this kind of problem is very difficult. It does take some getting used to. So from that part, well, what do you notice about the X values of F? What's the big thing about them? What are they doing? They're decreasing, right? They're going down. They're starting at 3, and then they're going all the way, let's go from here. They're going from 3 all the way down to -1.5, okay? So on G, that's going to correspond to X being 3 all the way to X being -1.5, or -1.5, excuse me. So that's going to correspond, let me make an X there, to this whole part of G. So let me use another color. It's going to correspond to this whole part of G, right? That's what G's doing from -1.5 to 3, okay? So that's the part I want to put at the beginning. So that's the part I want to put here, right? Okay, that's just a squiggle. That's not the actual graph I'm going to draw. Everybody with me on that? Now, here's the very tricky part, okay? It's that the values are going down, right? So I'm going to start what G does when X is 3, because the F of -3, where I'm starting, is 3, okay? But as these numbers go down, I actually need to traverse G this way, okay? Because the numbers are going down, so I should follow G in the opposite direction, okay? So I'm going to start. Yeah.
Because F is going down, you're going the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's because F is going down, right? So let's just plot, and I think I'm losing some of this, so let me plot some points, okay? Let's just pick a few points, because you can always do that. So let's use a big spot here. Let's start with this one. When X is -3, okay? So we'll start with -3. F is what? What's F of -3? Can you guys see that? 3. Now take g of it. What's g of positive 3? Yeah, almost negative 3, right? It's this corner here, okay? So let's plot that, okay? There's one big point, all right? Now let's do f of negative 2. What's f of negative 2?
Negative. Positive 2, right?
Well, let's go, it's this point right here, right? You see that point? Right, down here I'm just dotting the x values and we're going to look at it, right? But when I take f of minus 2, do you see the dot on the graph is minus 1? This dot here. Make it bigger. That spot.
Wait, which one?
That one right there.
Okay, yeah.
Right? That's minus 1.
Okay.
All right, so what's g of minus 1? G of minus 1. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's like here, right? It's like minus 1.25 or something. So that's where I need to plot. So my new graph is going to be, the second dot is going to be minus 1.25. So maybe right there. All right, so let's see. Let's go to g of minus 1, or sorry, f of minus 1. You can see it's kind of minus 1.25-ish, right? It's a little bit below minus 1. And when you go to g, minus 1.25, that's kind of where my x is. But you take g of that and you get something else. You get like minus 1.5, right? So this is going to go down again. Okay? So I'm going to just connect those 3 dots. My graph over here is red, right? All right. Do you see? So I've only done a little bit here, but do you see how that's starting to look like the right side of G backwards? Does that make sense? I'm making an arc, but you want to think about I'm making this arc like this, okay? Because I'm following that in the opposite order. The reason it's not the same height and depth is because I'm making this shape, but this is happening very quickly, right? So I'm going from the values of 3 to minus 1.5, like this shape. I'm doing this very fast because I'm taking all of this and I'm just putting it here quickly, right? Does that make sense? All right, so let's see. To finish that, let's take g of, or f of 0, right, is a little under minus 1. And that would bring g, that's kind of where that left orange line is. That would take it back up to 0, right? So it should look something along those lines, all right?
Which one?
It doesn't really,
What?
the answer, it doesn't really look like that.
Oh, did I screw up this part? So that part should go higher. Let's see what I did wrong here. So, yeah, so Riley pointed out something I did wrong. Let's look at the right side. I've been saying that blue line, right, we should do that backwards. So really we should go all the way up to 3. All right, so when does that happen? That happens, for G, that happens when X is about 1.5, right? And F is that size, so I didn't jump too far. F is about that size, kind of in the middle of this, right? So F gets to 1.5 right about here. So right off the bat, I should go up, right? Because I'm following these backwards, but I need to go this high, right? I should have these y values again, right? Then I should come back down to that. That's it. So this isn't probably exactly like what's in the back, but it's the same overall shape, right? And you're just estimating this. It doesn't have to be perfect. But what I missed there, when I just went from minus 2 to minus 1, is I missed, that's how quickly that you're going to make this arc, right? You're going to make that arc very quickly because F is falling so fast. So you're going to cover those numbers that quickly, all right? And so this is something I want you guys to be thinking about how to connect compositions, but if you're panicking, this wouldn't be like a test question, all right? This would just be, well, I mean, that's why it's on homework. I want you to be thinking about, yeah, maybe an extra credit problem on the test. We did just spend 10 minutes on this. All right, you've inspired me. All right.